Floating cities could be the future. Some architects dream of creating entire settlements on the water, with floating green space, and even places of worship. Dutch architecture office Waterstudio wants to make this vision a reality. Founder Koen Olthuis and his team have been designing floating architecture for 12 years. They hope the idea will catch on.
Architects are normally also busy with the building itself, but we think we also should change the mindsets of cities. And what I want to do is that we want to show that water can be part of the city. It's not only something to be afraid of, it's also you can use.
Take this project. Shaped like a snowflake, this floating 5-star hotel in Tromsø, Norway, is to give guests a spectacular view of the Northern Lights. The Crystal Hotel has the financial backing, but is still awaiting official approval. Meanwhile, this floating island is to be built this year and transported to the Maldives. And a jury recently selected Koen Olthuis as one of the 50 under 50 innovators of our time in the world of architecture and design.
For the last 15 years, I'm devoting my working life on this. And I see that we are now on a breaking point. We are going to a wet future, and there's more climate change, more urbanization. And I think also that municipalities and architects and developers see now that we are going to these floating cities.
Around a quarter of the Netherlands lies below sea level. Here, architects have long been grappling with the dangers of rising water levels. Floating structures are nothing new, but over the last decade, their numbers have been rising rapidly. The Netherlands has some 300,000 floating homes.
Specific problems we have is not technology, because it's not that difficult to float. It's the regulations. We have to talk to all the municipalities and to all the governments that they change the rules in a way that they allow these houses on water. Because what is it? Is it the boat? Is it real estate? Well, we have to convince them that it's exactly the same as on land.
For entrepreneur Olaf Janssen, living and working on the water is a dream come true. He paid 650,000 euros for this 3-story home. That's beyond the means of many. Still, Janssen believes that floating homes have great potential.
We have a lot of visitors here, and when they have been here, they're always excited because they're about the space and about the view. And everybody also asks, okay, does your house move in a strong winds? And then when there's a strong wind and they notice that the house barely moves, then they, maybe our next house will be also a floating house.
In other countries, too, architects are venturing out onto the water. This concept is called floatwing, and it was developed at a Portuguese university. It can function as a vacation home or a permanent dwelling. London-based Baca architects believe floating homes can help alleviate the city's housing shortage. These models from Waterstudio are soon to become reality. Villas on the water and entire floating islands are to be constructed in the United Arab Emirates and the Maldives. All of these projects were designed for the super rich, but projects are underway for the less privileged. Waterstudio is also working together with UNESCO to develop projects for the world's poor.
I think as an architect it's not only about building a house for the rich, but we have to start with that. We have to gain some knowledge from that. But now we try to do with the same technology solve the real problems worldwide. 1 billion people worldwide live in slums, in situations very poor and close to the water. If we can do their solutions on the water, bringing schools, bringing energy, bringing all kinds of technologies, and by that upgrading those locations, then we can make a real difference.
Called floating city apps, these containers function like variable building blocks. They can be added to poor areas to make use of space on the water. In March, the first one is set to be delivered to Bangladesh.
Cities change rapidly because the society is changing rapidly. So the questions that people ask are changing. And if you have a static city, there's no response. But on water, you have the possibility to act really fast.
Floating architecture, making waves for the future.